Welcome to our second episode 5 podcast.
The Empire Strikes Back.
The Empire Strikes Back. So this is going to be the best podcast we're ever going to do. Like, some of them may come close, but everyone will always remember that the Empire Strikes Back podcast.
Definitely, this is the best. It's all downhill from here.
This is the best. Oh, Return of the Jedi was pretty good. That's your favorite, right? You remember you told me Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, as a kid, yes, it was my favorite. I was always rent the VHS, stick it in, watch it over and over. Never really bought the tape. Always would rent it. I don't know. My parents didn't want to buy it, I guess. But I did have the Japanese VHS sent from my brother who was stationed in Okinawa.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was it was letterboxed. So it was widescreen on an old TV on a VHS. So it was really hard. It was really low definition. We have high definition today. It was really low definition.
That sounds amazing, though.
Yeah. I still have the tapes.
You still have them?
Yes, I still have the tapes.
Have you checked to see how much they're worth or anything?
I don't think they're worth a whole lot. I'd rather just keep them for sentimental value.
Fair enough. Yeah. But anyways, the song you heard at the beginning was from DJ Elliot. And DJ Elliot was at Star Wars Celebration back in Orlando in 2017. And I remember everybody was going to sleep because we had already been in this room since like 7:30, 8:30. And everybody around midnight was already like, all right, it's time to go to bed, time to go to sleep. And then out of nowhere, you just hear, "What's up, Celebration 2017 Orlando?" And everybody was like, what is that? And look over, sure enough, there's like a DJ. And I didn't even know how he set up. Like, nobody saw him setting up. And he had all these speakers up. And he played this music. And it was pretty cool. Like, he did a pretty cool, like, techno mix of all, like, the Star Wars themes.
Right. If you can imagine, like, an airplane hangar full of people getting ready to lay on the hard concrete with their sleeping bags and their blankets. And then all of a sudden, "What's up, everybody?" And then, like, everyone kind of got up, and I was like, oh my gosh. It didn't upset me, but I knew there was other people that were trying to get sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Because I knew I probably wasn't going to sleep. So, yeah, because just anticipating the panels. And, yeah, I mean, it just busted out full DJ mode. It was like a full-on concert.
It was awesome, though.
All the young people got up and encircled him. And I think one of the announcers came out, too, and he was on a mic, and it was loud.
Right. Yes.
It was loud.
But yeah, we found his information, and, well, I say David found his information on, he has a sound on SoundCloud, a song on SoundCloud, and he looked him up. He found his phone number. We called him up. David called him up. And he picked up, and we asked if we could use his music, and he was like, "Yeah, of course, use it." So that's the sound you're gonna hear is DJ Elliot's. I think it's called the Cantina Mix, and we'll put a link. I'll add a link so you all can listen to it because it's pretty cool. But it's funny you say that about everybody was trying to go to sleep. The people in front of us, they're from Sweden. Like they're I'm not even kidding. Like we started talking, they were from Sweden.
Super jet lag.
And he was like, just sitting there. This guy was sitting down about to sleep, and then the song started up, and he just looked over like, oh my gosh. And then there was a lady next to him who took a picture of his face, and she showed it to us, and I've never seen someone look so angry in my life at DJ, because he could tell you, like, dude, I'm trying to sleep, and then boom, guy shows up. So anyways, enough about the music. So this is our second podcast. Thank you all for listening to our first one, those who did. If not, this is our second one. And all we do is just talk about Star Wars. Like, everybody keeps asking me, "What's your podcast about?" I was like, "It's about Star Wars stuff." Like, hence our name is, Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, covers pretty much anything under the Star Wars umbrella.
And last week we did a little Last Jedi, and then everything else we talked about a lot of other things. And this week we're going to talk about some of the newer things that are coming up in the Star Wars world. So we found out something yesterday. What was it? Rian Johnson and
right. Rian Johnson's longtime producer, Ron Bergman, announced that they had started on the new trilogy, and that's pretty much all they said. And of course, that went around the web, and everyone picked it up, and it's. I think it's about time that they do start, and because with everything rolling out, I know Bob Iger was on a shareholders call, and they did the announcement of Jon Favreau directing the live action show. Yeah, well, that's going to be on the streaming app that we're all suspecting is going to be an app that goes head to head with Netflix.
And I think I'm probably going to get it, and a lot of other people will probably get it, just because they're going to introduce this new. It's a TV show, right? It's going to be like a whole, maybe like 10, 12 episode live action Star Wars, which we've never seen. I know George Lucas has been trying for years to get something going. I think he was trying right after Revenge of the Sith to try to get like a gangster Coruscant TV show going. He never got it going. But
plus, there was the video game, a 1313 video game that was never released. Once Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, they cut that division, and we never got to see the game.
Right. I remember
we got the trailer and the gameplay, which looked really, really good. And I think it was a game we were all kind of craving, but that kind of got the axe.
But so now Jon Favreau, who has directed, he directed The Jungle Book. He directed Zathura. If you're into Zathura, that was I think that was his first feature he did was Zathura. Right. And then Jungle Book, Iron Man 2.
Yep, kicked off the MCU.
Yep. Yeah. I was starting thinking, without Favreau doing what he did with Iron Man, we would not be having, the Avengers Infinity Wars right now. If Iron Man had not have succeeded, we would be like, oh yeah, there was that one Iron Man movie, and then we never would have had. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Marvel. We're here to talk about.
But I mean, to talk about Jon Favreau a little bit more, it was his foresight to pick up Robert Downey Jr. because he was down on his luck. I mean, he hadn't done anything in a while.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was just.
Is that what I said?
No, I was just trying to make sure. Yeah, he was just coming out of, he was trying to do something big, and then, I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out.
Yeah, no problem. But I did want to say that, I mean, that's why people have the faith in Jon Favreau, is because he's really got an eye for talent and an eye for, it seems like, franchises. And, I mean, he just has that it factor, it seems like, with Iron Man, of course, kicking off the MCU, producing some of those films, and then with the Jungle Book was incredible.
The Jungle Book was awesome.
And to find out he shot that whole thing in a studio with green screens. He did not go to the jungle.
Nope.
I mean, all that is fake. That was just super incredible. The animals look totally realistic, and it was just kind of mind-blowing. I don't think people talk about that film enough. And then they tapped him to do Lion King, which comes out in 2019, which is going to be the same technology. Ooh, so he's pretty much signed with Disney here, it seems like.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what he's going to do, because The Jungle Book, I loved it because he was able to bring the story to life, and he was able to make it a Disney Jungle Book, which we've all seen, hundreds of times growing up. But he was also able to make it something brand new. He was able to give it his own twist.
Right, he put his own spin on it.
To where you're kind of like, oh, this is really cool. Instead of going the Beauty and the Beast movie that came out was a pretty cool movie. But there was a few times that movie that I was like, oh my gosh, this is the exact same movie from the cartoon. So Favreau has my respect for him doing that, making it something new, which makes me more excited for Star Wars, because he will, of course, pay tribute to what's happened, but then he's also going to throw in a lot of his own twist, his own spin to it. He's probably going to make it awesome. We don't know what it's about. I mean, nobody has any idea what he could do it about. I know he said he's going to... He's producing the whole thing, right?
Right. I think he's going to be sort of like the Kevin Feige of that series, because they did mention that they are going to work with a diverse amount of actors, talent. So, I mean...
Do you think it's going to be like a linear story, or is it going to be just like...
You never know. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, that's the beauty of the time we're living in right now, because we just don't know. Possibilities are endless, and you can almost thank Rian Johnson for that.
And Dave
Filoni as well.
Man. And you know what? Last week he was talking about Rebels, and this is spoilers for Rebels, and... Because I've seen it, everyone should have seen it already, so I'm just going to talk about it.
Yeah, if they're listening to this podcast, I think they already know.
Okay, but
for the most part,
time travel has been introduced into Star Wars. That's a big thing now. If you Google it, it's crazy. A lot of the fans are talking how now time travel is in Star Wars, which I never thought was ever possible. I never thought Star Wars would ever go that route where, you could alter the past, alter the present, and stuff like that. So... I was blown away by that in the Rebels, and I'm wondering whether or not that's going to play out maybe in Favreau's new series, whether or not in Episode 9 that's going to play out, or whether or not Filoni's new series is going to have a lot of that too. Because the problem with time travel is you can kind of mess yourself up with time travel.
Right. And for that very reason, I think it's going to be used very, very sparingly.
Okay.
And when Dave Filoni comes out with something, it's usually kind of his in a way.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because I know with Ahsoka, other creators are going to need permission from Filoni to use her. And that stuff that he came out with and that he came up with, I think is pretty much his.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people want him to do a feature-length movie. I mean, he's got the mind. He was shepherded by George Lucas, like we talked about last podcast.
Yeah. But again, like I said last week, and I don't want to repeat myself. I don't want this to be one of the podcasts that repeats itself. But like, he's doing such an amazing job where he's at. If I were Kathleen Kennedy, I would just say, keep doing this. Keep, you can help us with these stories, but just keep making these movies. Your TV shows like this. These awesome stories are playing out so well that I think he should just stick to that, like, in my opinion.
A while back, I had the same opinion, but now, after him doing the 4 seasons of Rebels, I really want to see him flex his muscles in live action. I really want to see what he's capable of. Because if he's capable of a great live action TV show or even film, Star Wars story, I mean, you need to let that guy off the chain and just go wild. And people have talked about him even going as far as replacing Kathleen Kennedy. But Kathleen Kennedy's still staying on, of course, because, I mean, she's the greatest producer of all time. But, I mean, as far as the creative side goes, having Filoni there as the head of the creative department and have him oversee the creative side of Star Wars, I think that's what people are kind of hoping for and wishing for, in a sense.
I'd keep him there.
Yeah.
And I mean, but
I think he's a lifer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah. He's if you don't. I love how he always wears a hat. Like, he always has to have that.
The cowboy hat.
The cowboy hat. That's cool. Some other people are like, but with him, it's like, that's a cool hat, man. I want to hang out with that guy. He's pretty cool. I'm anxious to see his new show, if it's gonna follow where Rebels left off. Because if I remember, Disney had said they're gonna do a live action show for Star Wars, and maybe even a cartoon.
Right.
For Star. So next year, are we gonna be getting the Favreau and the Filoni? Or?
Well, no, Favreau, his stuff isn't going to come out till next decade.
Are you serious? What?
Yeah, because they got to do a lot of work on that because next up we have Solo, and then the year after that we have Black Diamond, which is episode 9. And the year after that, they're suspecting we all kind of the rumors are out there that there's going to be an Obi-Wan movie, and that a director was hired or is going to be hired.
I thought there was a whole story about, like, it was gonna happen, and the director of Incredibly Loud, Extremely Close, someone that I forgot what his name was. He was supposed to direct it, like, or unless that was just a story that somebody threw out there just to mess with all of us.
That was Stephen
Daltrey.
Yes. He was rumored, and it was like a pretty safe bet that he was actually hired on, but they just haven't announced it yet. But I mean, it's kind of like, well, after episode 9, it's like, well, what do we got going? We know about the Rian Johnson trilogy. We know about the Benioff and Weiss trilogy coming up. And I think those are going to be out next decade. And we're assuming it's going to be Obi-Wan, but rumors have come up lately that it's maybe a Boba Fett bounty hunter Star Wars story, which would kind of go against the grain of all the fans, I think, because we're all clamoring for the Kenobi movie.
Yeah, everybody wants a Kenobi.
Everyone wants that. Ewan McGregor's game.
Ewan McGregor's like, let me do a Kenobi.
You get Liam Neeson, he seems game. I mean, it's right there for the taking. It seems like such a slam dunk. Just do the Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars story.
Can you imagine all the teaser poster would just have, like, Ewan McGregor's, like, half of his face, and it would be like next summer, and it would just say Lucasfilm on the top. Like, that's all people would. We don't even need the name of the movie. We don't even need, like, they wouldn't even have to promote Kenobi. They would just say, hey, Ewan McGregor's back. He's playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. We would flock to go see it. But a Boba Fett movie now, that might, I don't know. Like, for me, Boba Fett's dead. Spoiler. So, Boba Fett's dead, so it's like we know his demise. He went out kind of like a little jerk, if you really think about it. Like,
Well, I mean, we don't have to go to the future of Return of the Jedi. We can go into the past.
I know we can go to the past, but then it's like, again, I mean, that's what I'm saying is like, we know what's going to happen. We know the choices he's going to make to where he was this cool bounty hunter, but then all of a sudden he ends up just becoming Jabba the Hutt's, like, what, his guard or something? Because he's just chilling there. He doesn't know he's going to chill there in that castle. So it's just all these other things that I'm wondering, what are they going to do with it? I'd rather see a Boba Fett movie that goes past Return of the Jedi and see him live, and then also like see how he's going to interact with, maybe something in the future. That'd be pretty cool. Or the theory that Snoke is Boba Fett turned into Snoke.
Yeah, back in 2015, back in Anaheim, 2015 celebration, I went to the Future Filmmakers panel, and it was supposed to be Gareth Edwards, Carrie Hart, Kathleen Kennedy, and Josh Trank. And they said Josh Trank could not make the panel due to an illness, and the rumors were flying around then that he was cut from doing a Boba Fett movie, and that wasn't set in stone. So, I mean, you figure they still have the scripts, they still have the idea, they still have the pre-production stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of somewhat baked. So, all I have to do is hand that off. And Boba Fett's an extremely popular character, as we all know. And it might not be the next Star Wars story that we want, kind of like Solo coming up. You didn't want it, you do want it. Now it's about to come out. Of course, we're going to all go see it.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be there.
I think we all preferred Kenobi before Solo, but I mean, yeah, we're going to go for sure, and you are too, probably.
Oh, yeah. I'm on the fence about it, but I'll be there opening night to watch it,
Yeah, definitely.
And, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll probably podcast right after it.
Like,
give our thoughts.
But I think that Josh, what was his name? Josh Trank? Right?
Yeah.
I heard it was Fantastic Four that kind of ruined his chances. How bad it performed, and that Kennedy gave him the axe.
Yeah, the behind-the-scenes stories are crazy.
Yeah. So I'm wondering whether or not that has anything to do with it, and whether or not she's gonna go ahead with it. Part of me wants to see who she would hire next, and that's a big deal now with Kathleen Kennedy. Is who is she gonna hire? Who does she trust now to hire? Because we all see now that if she doesn't like you, she will not hesitate to fire you. Which is crazy, with a franchise this big. But I guess it's kind of respectable, that she won't let it.
Well, I don't think it's so much if she doesn't like the person. I think it's so much as if they don't really kind of produce what she thinks is supposed to happen. Because there was talk about her and JJ butting heads a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit, not too much. And now he's back on to do episode 9.
It was a safe choice for her though to pick Abrams to come back. The director I always go to is always Matthew Vaughn. I'm like, Matthew Vaughn needs to direct a Star Wars movie, and my friends are like, you need to shut your mouth. Or like Brad Bird would be a great choice for her to pick. But I'm just curious as to see who she's gonna start hiring, because I heard she met with the director of, or one of the showrunners of The Handmaid's Tale.
Ah.
She met with her, and a lot of people are asking, what are we all talking about? And this lady, which I feel bad, I don't know her name. She said, we just talked. We just had a lunch. That's all we had. And they asked Kathleen Kennedy again said, yeah, we just talked. But we all know you're not just talking when you talk to Kathleen Kennedy. If you're a director, you're talking about how would you feel about. So there's all these other there's the people talking what is she gonna do? And for me, I'm excited to see what because have you ever seen The Handmaid's Tale? Have you ever seen that before?
No, I've seen bits and pieces of it. My wife loves it.
Oh yeah,
and I think she's watched every episode. She's even read the book.
Yeah.
So and I do know that she did. I want to say she did speak with, or Lucasfilm. Someone with Lucasfilm did speak with Ava DuVernay.
Oh, really?
And she gave a flat out no, I don't want to do it. And then the news just broke about her that she's going to do DC's New Gods. So yeah, I mean, and she has said in the past that she didn't want to do a Marvel film either. So maybe she was already in talks with DC, and there was kind of a path laid down for her there. Oh. So now we do know that she is going to do a DC film.
That's a weird choice because DC's not doing 100% great right now with their
The only thing they
movies.
got going for them right now, I think, is Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
And I would say Henry Cavill is Superman.
I'm gonna say Wonder Woman's like the best thing they have going for them.
I guess.
But the fact that she would pass up, a chance to do a Star Wars movie, just that would be like it would be because she's a pretty good director. I saw Wrinkle in Time. I wasn't too crazy about it, but the visual of it was amazing. Like it was visually pleasing, and you can see like the characters were there. But for me personally, I wasn't a big fan of it, and so that kind of upsets me that she would just say like no right away. Like I wonder what her reason. I wonder what they were talking. Like what was this project they were talking about? Because one thing that I would love to see is a Leia movie about Leia when she was younger. I know Carrie Fisher's gone and it sucks, but a young Leia film would be pretty cool. There's that picture of Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things that people are like, does she look like a young Carrie Fisher? And you're like, yeah, she really does look like a young.
Yeah.
Why not have her just be a young? Because there's a lot of stuff out there about Leia now that is canon. How she met Holdo. There's a book called Leia, Princess of Alderaan, which came out last year. With amazing book. And I read that story and I thought that'd be a really great movie to watch. Like I would watch that movie quite a lot because it's a cool story. But I don't know. They don't listen to us when it comes to what projects they should do next.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't surprise me if that was one of the next in line Star Wars stories.
Because I know everybody's mad that she's picking men to direct these movies, and I remember my wife was like, a lot of people are saying, why is she just picking these white men to direct these movies, and she needs more women in there to direct these movies, and then my wife said, yeah, but they don't realize that they keep saying she is in charge of everything. Right. She is in charge. And I love it that when George Lucas was selling it, he didn't go to, I don't know, he could have gone to any producer in Hollywood, but he went to probably one of the best in Hollywood.
Right.
Besides her and her husband Frank Marshall. And asked her, and I read that it was a meal they had, and he was like, hey, you want to have lunch? And she says, of course, yeah. Like, because they've known each other since Raiders of the Lost Ark. And they're sitting down eating, and then he says, I'm thinking about selling the company to Disney. And she's like, okay. And he says, well, and I would like for you to be in charge of it once that happens.
Right. And she asks, who are you thinking about?
She's like, who do you think about? And he's like, you. She goes, okay, yes. And he says, you should think about it. She goes, you're right, yeah. But apparently she was already like,
right.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be. And so I love the fact that people just kind of forget that she's in charge. And if you go on Twitter and type in Kathleen Kennedy, all the tweets about Kathleen Kennedy are negative, like super negative, to where I'm reading it, I'm just like, what? What is? People are so mean. People are just the meanest. Like, I don't know. But everyone's entitled to their opinion, though.
Yeah, a bunch of keyboard warriors out there.
Oh, you know. So have you heard anything else? Like, has she met with anyone?
Well, like
else?
I said, I found out today actually that when they did announce Jon Favreau's signing, it was on International Women's Day, of course, and there's a backlash about that.
Oh my gosh!
But it seems like there was a Bob Iger shareholders meeting where he announced it. That's why they made the announcement as soon as possible, so that the rumor mill wouldn't just go about Jon Favreau, and so that Lucasfilm could get behind Jon Favreau, make a statement, and publish it and make it official. Because I think Favreau was actually signed on a month before that.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is already something that had been...
Right. It had been in the works. People had already known about it. And they finally just let the cat out of the bag. But of course, it's going to take years for it to actually...
I was always under the impression that like next year we have one or something. I don't know. I guess I'm just being naive because I don't know. I guess I figured he's already done with Lion King. What more does he have to do? Just work on Star Wars now. But no, I think he's still making Lion King. So, man, that makes me sad. I was really hoping for a Favreau live action TV show from Disney.
Yeah.
But I think if Disney wants to get those viewers onto their streaming, they're gonna have to have at least something Star Wars, which makes me think Dave Filoni's animated series is probably going to be there on this Disney streaming exclusive, which I'm down. And I'm pretty sure in this new series that he's going to do, we might see the rise of Snoke. We might see the rise of the First Order from that point of view of the characters from Rebels.
I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for that. Yeah. Like right now. Like why aren't we watching that right now? Because that sounds amazing. And
if they did get Andy Serkis, it'd be kind of weird that Jon Favreau, the director of Disney's Jungle Book, directing Andy Serkis, another director of a Jungle Book movie that it's about to come out with Benedict Cumberbatch as. I think
he plays the villain, right?
Yeah, Shere Khan. Yeah, so that would be kind of strange.
Like we won't talk about Jungle Book, right? We're just gonna work on Star Wars right now.
And Andy Serkis' Jungle Book was gonna come out really soon after Disney's, but then with the success of Disney's Jungle Book, I think Andy Serkis decided to push it a little bit further out.
Man, that's kind of sad. I wanted to see like how well because he did it all motion capture, right? Like because he's a big motion capture.
And watching that one clip on The Last Jedi special features, you can see the word Imaginarium across the top of his headgear, and that's Andy Serkis' company.
Wow.
So I did not know that they were using the stuff from his own company. I thought he just had the company on the side, and it was like maybe like an upstart, but it seems like they're really taking advantage and using the technology that he's backing. That's and of course awesome. He's the expert. I mean,
he is the expert. He's like the best person to go to. And apparently everyone who's worked with him says he's like the most disciplined, nice like actor you could ever meet. And what really impressed me about The Last Jedi, the way they made it, was Andy Serkis was there on the set with Daisy Ridley, with Adam Driver. Like most of the time they do motion capture, they take the actor, he's in a room by himself. Like when he did Kong, he just was in a room by himself. And when he did Smeagol,
right.
He was never really. He would film on set with the actors, but then he would have to go back and redo everything again.
Right.
Whereas in
all the performance capture stuff, and
I think they said they did one scene in Return of the King where he was able to actually be there, but it was a difficult thing to do. And then apparently now with The Last Jedi, they were able to rig that whole set, Snoke's throne room, with the motion capture rig to where he could be there with them and act right there in front of them. And I thought that's pretty cool, man.
And have you had a chance to see the director in the Jedi?
Yes, I finally got it. Yeah.
You saw that part where he told Andy Serkis, "You're gonna die."
Yeah, and he was like,
and he's like, "Oh."
He's like, "No, why?" He goes, "I'm sorry, we're gonna have to kill you." He's like, "No."
Serkis' performance was just awesome as Snoke.
Which in
both films.
I'm glad. I mean, I'm not glad. He's gone. Spoiler. If you're watching this, you better have seen The Last Jedi. But he's gone. But part of me thinks, man, are they gonna bring him back in Episode 9? Is he gonna come back in Episode 9? And we don't know. Because he was so great, it would be a waste of talent to be like, all right, Andy, you're done. Thank you for giving us all these great theories, but you're done now. I don't know. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, JJ's coming back, so he was the one that initially hired Serkis. Yeah. So they might have a relationship there.
I know, but you never know. Kennedy could be like, no, we don't want to confuse the fans. He's done. But how do you feel about now Solo's about to be coming out, and the whole hiring of all these directors? How do you feel about Ron Howard taking over for, what was it, Lord and Miller, right? How do you feel about that?
Well, before I knew anything, when Ron Howard took over, I was kind of shocked. It was kind of disturbing because they were 2 weeks away from finishing, I think it was...
principal photography.
Right, principal photography. And it's like, how could they let that go that far with Lord and Miller and then be able to meet that May 25th deadline? I was like, there's no way this thing's getting pushed back to Christmas. We're going to have to wait another year.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But then, to all of our shock, Ron Howard came in, and I think he basically reshot or has footage for over 70-80% of the film. It's all Ron Howard. So that's going to be interesting. Of course, the guy that played Vision in
Paul Bettany.
Yeah, Paul Bettany. He replaced the actor that played Omar in The Wire.
Yeah,
and apparently Omar the guy that I'm not. What's his?
What's
his name?
I know his Omar from. I have a friend of mine.
Well, anyways, he was supposed to play a cat-like creature, like mountain lion humanoid creature. And yeah, he got totally replaced by Paul Bettany. I think Paul Bettany's just going to play a humanoid. I don't think they're going to do any special effects on him. But yeah, it was interesting, and I guess minor spoilers for Solo. I guess I do know that he said the actor that was going to play that CGI character said that there was like some type of like love triangle between him, Kira, and Solo. Which would be kind of bizarre.
That would be really bizarre. That would be really strange. Yeah. Maybe I'm glad they're not going to. I hope they don't do that plot line. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about love triangles in Star Wars.
Yeah, but they did say that the screenplay for Solo was probably the best screenplay that they ever got for a Star Wars film.
I've heard
written by Lawrence Kasdan and his son.
Yes. Which is
same guy who did Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, and
Force Awakens.
Yeah, exactly.
What's crazy about Lawrence Kasdan though is was Lucas had actually asked him to help him write the prequels, and he had told him no. He had said no to episode 1, no to episode 2.
Wow, I did not know that.
And he asked him, "Can you help me write episode 3?" And he said no. And then as soon as episode 7 comes along, Kennedy says, "You want to help us with the script?" He goes, "Yeah." So I know there was probably some beef with Kasdan and Lucas.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
But what I remember hearing when Ron Howard took over was that he was supposed to have like maybe 2 weeks to prepare and then to film. But apparently as soon as he took over, like a couple of days later, he was already rolling the camera. Like he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and then he shot the whole thing. And I'm anxious to see. I like Ron Howard. I mean, Ron Howard is awesome. I mean,
and of course, we all know Lawrence Kasdan is an accomplished director. He did Silverado, Big Chill, I believe, and of course, they wanted to, of course, logically it makes sense to put him as director of Solo.
Yes,
but it was against the one of the guilds that he could not do that, replace the directors. So that was going to be breaking the law, having to pay a big fine, I believe.
Okay.
So that's why they had to bring in Ron Howard. But it seems like it might be a whole like Return of the Jedi, George Lucas, Richard Marquand situation where Lawrence Kasdan actually did really direct the film. Yes.
What?
Yes.
How did you? I want to hear your sources, man. Like, what are your sources?
I think my sources are pretty good. I mean, it's all around the net. I taught, like I said, I got a bunch of Star Wars friends now. Jeez. I just sent them friend requests, and they said yes. And, of course, I met a bunch of people at Celebration. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of in the know. Not all the way in as some people are, but when it filters down to me, of course, I'm gonna spill the beans on the podcast.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's kind of exciting. But you know, a director like Ron Howard wouldn't need a Kasdan on the set.
Exactly. So you're right. Academy Award level winning director Ron Howard, but Kasdan, who wrote the script and who everyone says it's a great, fantastic, the best Star Wars script, and for Lord and Miller not to follow it,
which is crazy. Apparently they said they added too much. They let the actors ad lib a lot of stuff to where the characters were changing from what they originally had to what was becoming, like what they were doing, and that's a rumor that went around that's why Kennedy, said you guys are out. You can't. This is not what we're doing. And I wonder if they strayed so much to where, I don't know, like it was almost too comical, too ridiculous for us to like, or I don't know. Did you hear the reason why they left? Because they strayed too much from the script, or? Right,
they strayed too much from the script. They did too much improv, and it was actually Alden Ehrenreich who went up to Kathleen Kennedy and said, "I don't think this is working."
Are you serious?
Yes.
The guy who's playing Solo.
The guy who's playing Solo said, "I don't think this is working."
Oh my gosh!
And,
I did not know that.
And it almost seems when they released that story, it almost seems like when that happened, Kathleen Kennedy finally took a look at the dailies, and then that's when she freaked and said, "Bye, you're gone. See ya."
That makes me sad that she wouldn't have been
more hands-on. It's.
I think she.
That's what it seems like. I don't know. She could have been more hands-on in a different way, and not just seen the dailiest because, of course, she had another production going on, which was The Last Jedi. She was, I think, more with that camp.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, just
So the actor
you wouldn't think
who
that would
played
happen.
Solo got scared, talked to the producer, and said, "I don't think this is working."
Right.
That is amazing and
Right.
terrifying at the same time.
Right.
I'm anxious to see like how well Ron Howard, and it's gonna be crazy when the movie closes. The ba-dum is gonna say directed by Ron Howard. Like who would have thought like after all these years, like great Ron Howard would
Yeah. Well, he is Lucasfilm alumni.
Yes, he
Right.
is the like one of the original Lucasfilm alumni.
Yeah.
There with if y'all have never seen American Graffiti, watch it. It's an amazing. Have you've seen American Graffiti?
I have not seen it.
What? It's a great coming of age.
But the movie I have seen
is THX 1138.
Willow,
Well, oh jeez, I've never seen Willow.
directed by Ron Howard,
I've never
which
seen
is a
Willow.
Lucasfilm
Yep.
movie.
And
I loved Willow. I used to watch it all the time. Used to watch it on Cinemax when I was a little kid.
I've unfortunately never seen Willow, but when it comes to Ron Howard, though, like his movies he's made, like Cinderella Man, A Beautiful Mind, which he won Best Picture and Best Director for, Apollo 13.
Oh my gosh, that's one of my
Apollo
favorite movies of all
I used to watch the
time.
movie all the time when I was a kid, and The Grinch. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
The Grinch.
Yeah, I'm kind of lukewarm on it,
but yeah, it's pretty cool to see him coming in and just doing what he does best, which is movies. He's an amazing filmmaker. And I remember when it came time, my friends and I, Jamie and Joe, we always talk about who's gonna direct what, like who's gonna do what. And when it came time for who she was gonna pick, we thought we were like, okay, is she gonna pick somebody new, an uppercomer, or is she gonna pick somebody she trusts, a legend? And I in my head, I thought she's got to pick someone she trusts. Like, she's got to pick the person that she knows will come in, shoot the movie, and be like, all right, cool. I just saved your movie. Ron Howard wasn't on that list, but when they said his name, I said, that's probably the best choice she could have made on that decision.
The venerable director, steady the ship. I think he would be on that list. Particular list, yes, but not to start off a film.
Oh yeah, no, and I would have been kind of like, oh, okay, that's a little weird if they were like, oh yeah, Ron Howard's directing, a Rian Johnson film. I'd be like, that's a strange thing for them to do. But are there gonna be movies, like how far ahead are they gonna say these movies are gonna like? Do you know how far they're gonna go?
Well,
like 2026.
I mean, we got 7 movies planned. So that's at least 7 years. Well, actually, no, that's 8. And Solo, 9, the trilogies. So, yeah, that's 9. Jeez. 9 more films. And are they going to release 2 a year eventually?
I'm scared that Star Wars is just gonna it's gonna be too much.
Like the oversaturation.
Yes, like the Marvel movies are too much, and like how there's just a movie, like a year, and then we got this big event, the Infinity Wars. It's like, is that gonna happen to Star Wars to where they're gonna release all these movies and people are just gonna be like, it's all the same. It's all the same,
And then of course you have to remember Jon Favreau's TV show.
Yeah, so then we're gonna have a TV show that's gonna be streamed directly to Disney, and whether or not that's gonna be something original, and I don't know. I'm scared as a Star Wars fan, thinking that maybe one day I'm gonna be like, it's too much. We need to slow down. But then a part of me is thinking, no, I'm not. I'm gonna just keep going to watch these movies over and over and over again. I got a problem, and it's a Star Wars addiction. I need help, but
I think that's all of us.
That's all of us here.
Yeah.
But I think I'm anxious to see what Favreau will do, what Filoni will do. Filoni, not Fellini. I keep saying what Filoni will do, and I'm counting the days until Solo comes out because I just want to see what they're gonna do with it, whether or not it's going to be something. Is it a trilogy or is it just this one movie? Because I remember hearing a rumor way back when it's the Han Solo trilogy, but I haven't seen anything since that was announced.
Right. That's a rumor. This is a single standalone movie, but I think the possibility does exist if this thing's a hit and people accept Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
They could do a second one.
How do you feel about
But
him?
of course, Lawrence Kasdan wouldn't be back because he said this is his last
he's done with
script.
Lucasfilm.
Yeah, he's done. Maybe Jake Kasdan, his son, will come back and write. But
it all depends on whether or not this is a good
movie.
movie.
if this movie really hits, if they go back to classic Star Wars, Rogue One type of format, and it really hits, I mean that money talks. And
yeah, very true. Yeah, I'm just anxious to see because I'm like on the fence about it because I don't know how I feel about the actor. I can never say his name. How do you say his name?
Alden Ehrenreich.
Ehrenreich.
Yeah,
he was pretty good in that Coen Brothers film Hail Caesar. He was great in that movie.
Yeah, he was hilarious.
He was amazing. And then when I heard he was playing Solo, I was like, okay, that's good. This could either go one or two ways. We can either get something really, really great or something we're just like, he was okay.
Yeah, and to me, his career path, it seems like it almost has like a Hayden Christensen type feel. Because Hayden was in some really small movies, and then boom, he hit Star Wars.
Yep.
And same thing with Alden. I mean, he's playing one of the most classic characters in cinema history. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I have heard early reports that people have seen the footage, and they do say there are standout characters. They don't name him as one of them, but they say he does the job.
He does the job.
Yeah, apparently. That's just from people that have seen the footage, and that could be just rumors. I don't know. But that's what I've heard from all of my sources.
Your amazing sources that you have. So that's why you have to listen to this podcast, because we have the best sources like you've ever we have the best sources.
I'm constantly listening to all the Bleeding Edge movie news, all the Bleeding Edge Star Wars news. Mostly listening, sometimes reading when I have a shot, because I do have a full-time job. But when I'm driving home from work, I have the podcast going and going and going, listening to other stuff, just compiling it in my brain. I don't know. All that stuff sticks, but all the other stuff doesn't.
Oh, yeah, that's how it is in my regular life. I'm like, what are we doing today? Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
Something cool happened in Star Wars world today. I'm just kidding.
This is why it's perfect to listen to this podcast, because it just regurgitate it all. And it seems like different podcasts will have different things to say, and they will have different news, so it's almost like we're an aggregate.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's pretty cool. But I'm anxious to see what happens there with Solo, and then I'm anxious to see, I don't know, like I said, just I'm nervous about Solo, but I guess we can talk about Solo, like delve into Solo before it comes out. But before we go, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Before we go, we found out something really cool this week, which is that Ready Player One, the movie directed by Steven Spielberg, is going to have Star Wars references in the movie. Which, if you've ever read the book, there's a scene where he comes outside of school. The main character does, Wade, and he's looking in the parking lot. And there's like a Millennium Falcon, an X-wing, and like some kid gets in it and just flies away. And like R2-D2's the DJ at one of these things.
Oh wow!
And when I heard that they were making the movie, I thought, is he gonna get all the licenses to do this? And I found out that he got Disney to sign off and let him use some of the Lucasfilm Star Wars things. So I'm anxious.
Incredible! You're gonna see it next week.
Next week, that's right. Yep. I already got my tickets.
Yep, got mine too.
If y'all haven't bought your tickets for Ready Player One, do it, because it's gonna be awesome. And maybe after we'll do a podcast about how we felt about that movie and whether or not we liked it. I mean,
talk about the Star Wars stuff.
Talk about the Star Wars stuff in that movie. Well, maybe, I think it'll be a lot of fun. But as for today, I think we did pretty good. So thank y'all for listening. And when we head out, you'll hear more of the DJ Elliot, and we'll put that link there for y'all to listen to it. So thank you very much, and may the Force be with you.
Always.